Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi, everyone. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So, good morning, everyone. There we go. Good morning, Jasmine. I'm waiting to see if we can have more viewers. So, for those of you that are new, that maybe this is the first time that you tune in to watch one of our lives, we are Dreamers Together. My name is Elizabeth Rojas, and I am an accredited rep here at Dreamers Together. Dreamers Together is a nonprofit organization, and we are accredited by the Department of Justice, the EOIR department. So we can provide legal advice. Now, for this live or for the lives that we do on a weekly basis, they're not to be considered legal advice and they don't establish a client representative or legal representative relationship. We do offer consultations every week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and some Saturdays, to so we can better assist the community. Okay, so feel free to ask your questions here. Try to provide as much information as we possibly can. Um, But if you are interested in booking, sitting down, having that relationship as one of our clients, please do book an appointment with us at dreamerstogether.org. Okay. This past week, did have two green card interviews for two clients. One of them got a verbal approval on the spot. We're waiting for the official document to come in. So this is something that we do offer services for green card applications or submissions. We do the AOS, we do advanced pro, we do DACA renewals, we do DACA EAD replacements, we do translations. We are going to start on citizenship here very soon. We do removal of conditions, consultations, case preparation. We do everything. And the point of it is so that you don't have to worry about the process, because right now the process can be hard, specifically because of the immigration climate that we're facing, and some cases do need that additional help or that additional review just to make sure that you are filing everything correctly, that your case is eligible for adjustment. And like I tell all of my clients, and if you've ever sat down with me, I will tell you at the beginning, hey, we're going to go over your case. If for some reason Dreamers Together cannot take your case, we're going to refer you to an attorney, okay? And yes, unfortunately, there are some cases that Dreamers Together cannot take just because we want to protect you, the applicant. We don't want you getting in any type of trouble. If we don't think that you're going to be approved, or if we think that you're going to run into some issues, you best believe that we're not going to send your application out that way. We're going to make sure that you're aware of what the consequences of you sending this application are, and we want to make sure that you know that you have options. Or like I tell some of my clients, this is not the best time to send your application in, or you're not eligible for AOS. You just need to wait, or you just need to continue to renew DACA if you have DACA until you have other options. So please, again, book an appointment with us. I do come in Facebook and I try to read or try to assist as much as we can, as much as I can. The thing about it is sometimes we don't have all of that information in the Facebook post to be able to make an evaluation on your case and point you in the right direction. Sometimes I do end up with more questions than answers, but that's just because we're trying to look at all the angles of your case, okay? So sometimes you're not going to get a really straightforward answer from us if you're in the Facebook in the comment section, just because again we don't know your specific case. So that's why I highly do recommend highly recommend an appointment. Now, if for some reason, you don't want to book an appointment with us, that's also okay. We totally understand. Make sure that you are using the search option in the Facebook group. Okay. So that's kind of just an introduction on who we are because I know we've had a very large influx of new members over the couple of past weeks. Okay, so again, if you have questions, si tienen preguntas, las pueden hacer en español, en inglés. English is fine as well. We are missing Fikreta today, so hopefully she'll be back with us next week. Okay, vamos a comenzar con las preguntas, ¿ok? Jasmine, good morning. Gris, buenos días. Gris, estoy esperando que nos avise que ya le aprobaron su casa. Ojalá que sea muy pronto. Buenos días, Rosa. Dice, hija ciudadana me va a pedir, yo hice AP. ¿Puede pedir a su papá en la misma aplicación? Él no tiene entrada legal. ¿Será que me espero hasta que yo sea residente? Ok, esta es muy buena pregunta, Jasmine, y recibimos esta pregunta muchas veces. Para cada padre es una aplicación, ¿ok? N- En, para cada padre es una aplicación. En su caso, porque el papá de su hija no tiene entrada legal, le recomiendo hasta que usted sea residente para que pueda meter el perdón por él, ya que no hay perdón de hijos a padres. Puede meter el I-130, solamente continuar manteniéndolo activo y una vez que usted sea residente podría hacer el perdón para su esposo. Puede esperar algunos meses para hacer el I-130 una vez que ya usted se haga residente para que le aprueben el I-130 y después usted pueda pedir el perdón. Desafortunadamente no se pueden mandar las dos aplicaciones juntas, por lo que él no tiene entrada legal y no puede ir en su aplicación de usted como derivado. Pero sí, recuerden que no hay perdón. No hay perdón de hijos a padres. Esa es la razón por la cual muchos hijos no pueden pedir a sus papás. Lo que va a pasar es que al pedir a sus papás por no tener entrada legal, no tener un military parole in place, no tener 245I que los ampare para que hagan el proceso dentro de Estados Unidos, el proceso determina que tienen que salir a su país natal para hacer el proceso consular y cuando salen, por haber acumulado más de 365 días de presencia ilegal, se activa la barra de 10 años. La barra de 10 años, para poder sobresalir la barra de 10 años, necesita un 601A waiver y los hijos no son elegibles para darle ese waiver 601A a papás. Ese 601A waiver solamente se da si tienen padres residentes o ciudadanos o esposos residentes o ciudadanos. Entonces, cuando los papás intentan salir a ese proceso consular, quedan castigados 10 años. ¿Ok? Nadie quiere estar castigado 10 años, pero no tienen otra opción. No tienen opción para pedir un perdón, al menos que esa persona tenga padre residente, o ciudadano o esposo residente o ciudadano. Esa es la razón por la cual muchos papás no pueden arreglar por medio de sus hijos. Lo bueno fue que llegó DACA y DACA les permite aplicar para un advance parole que les da esa entrada legal para que puedan hacer el proceso aquí dentro de Estados Unidos sin tener que salir a su país. ¿Ok? Si ustedes tienen DACA, si papá tiene DACA, necesita aplicar para Advance Pro. Y si no tiene DACA, la mejor opción sería consultarlo con un abogado para determinar si no hay otras razones, lo que les llamamos inadmisibilidades, que le puedan perjudicar para que él no pueda regresar a Estados Unidos a la hora de salir para ir al proceso consular. Ok, Elizabeth, buenos días, Elizabeth. Adriana, buenos días. Gris, creo que me falta. Recibieron mi aplicación diciembre 2025. Parecen eternos estos par de meses. Parecen eternos, Gris. ¿Cuál es su field office? Y ya sé en qué estado está. De hecho, tengo una persona que acaba de ir, pero no sé si fue en ese mismo estado. Y también sus fechas de recibo fueron de diciembre. Una persona me parece que fue de Arizona y la otra persona que fueron ayer fue en, estoy buscando, en Chicago. Chicago se está moviendo sumamente rápido, ¿ok? Y la persona que fue en Chicago le dijeron verbalmente que estaba aprobado. Pero Grace, ojalá que muy pronto, muy pronto, muy pronto. Eso es, depende mucho de las oficinas, porque como le comentó Grace, tengo 2 personas que son casi de las mismas fechas que usted y ya tuvieron su entrevista, pero depende mucho de a qué oficina están, les toca ir a la entrevista. Si una oficina tiene menos casos, se van a mover más rápido. Si otras oficinas tienen más casos, se van a mover lentos y eso es lo que determina cuándo le va a tocar la entrevista. Okay. So if you guys have not done advanced parole, we highly recommend to do AP. I was explaining if a child is trying to petition a parent, the reason the petition is not is hard for it to be approved is because parents often don't have somebody to give them that waiver for the unlawful presence, the 601A waiver. Okay, so sometimes parents do have a legal permanent resident spouse or a legal permanent resident parent that can give them the 601A waiver. But if they don't have a qualifying relative for that waiver, then they're triggering the 10-year bar, the 10-year ban. Nobody wants to be in their country for 10 years. That's why we recommend doing your AP if you have DACA, and that way we're going to be able to, you're going to be able to, let's see, you're going to be able to move forward with the consular process or the adjustment of status. That's why, for consular process, we highly do recommend that you consult it with attorney. If that's your only option, look at your options. There are reasons why, even with a 601A waiver, you could be barred, you could be banned, and nobody wants that. So again, you want to make sure that you have all of your options, okay? Now, with adjustment of status, if you have a legal entry, you do the process here. If you have 245I is what Natalie, our accredited rep, does mention like the golden ticket, okay? Because maybe one of your grandparents filed a petition for one of your parents, or maybe one of your uncles or aunts filed a petition for one of your parents, or maybe someone filed a petition for one of your parents, an employer, and that would be 245I. Even if your name was not on that petition as a child, even if you were not born, as long as you meet the criteria, that would count as your legal entry. This could count as your parents' legal entry. That would protect them from having to leave the US in order to be able to do the process. They'll be able to do the process here in the US. Okay. Roxana says, thank you. Thank y'all for posting the link for help with DACA renewals. Was able to reach out to my congressman for help. Today is 150 days since filing. Roxana, you are welcome. Um, if you have been waiting for a long time, you want to reach out to your congressperson, okay? If you've been waiting more than 105 days, you want to reach out to your congressperson, and you want to make sure that you are asking for congressional help. Now, will it help or not? That's going to be up to the congressperson. That's going to be up to USCIS, but you definitely want to give it a try. I am seeing a lot of DACA applicants that are stating that they have been waiting for more than 105 days. After 105 days, USCIS states that, hey, you can reach out. Ask for congressional help. Again, it may or may not help. It just depends on that representative or the congressperson that you have, and also USCIS. But definitely want to give it a try, Roxana. I hope you get your green your DACA renewal here soon, okay? So let's see. Okay. I am advising, or we are advising everybody to renew your DACA at least 6 months in advance, because we are seeing that most everyone is 5 to 8 months. Now, every once in a while, somebody's case will move faster before before those 5 to 8 months, and that's what we want. But that's not everybody's case. So we just want to make sure 6 months out. You want to make sure that if you can do it 1 year in advance, just because for the majority of the part, people are waiting 5 to 8 months. Rosa said, who can apply for AP? My parents have a work permit. I just don't know under what category. So it depends, Rosa, because even if they are eligible to apply for an advanced parole, it may be recommended not to apply for AP, even if they are eligible, depending on what their category is. Okay. So for that, Rosa, I would definitely recommend reach out to an attorney, just because if you have DACA, yes, file for advanced parole, you're going to be fine. But if you have VAWA and you have an advanced parole, Attorney Charles Cook has recommended not to travel with AP with VAWA, or there's other categories, Rosa. So you want to make sure that you know you're applying and that you're going to be fine if they travel. But if you don't know what category they're under, um, you can just post it on the Facebook group once you find out what category their EAD has. If they have DACA, apply for it. But you mentioned it's not DACA. If you have DACA, though, if anybody here is watching, that doesn't go for all of the categories. That only goes for those who do not have DACA EADs. If you have DACA EAD, you want to go ahead and apply for it. Okay. I think my internet's slowing down. Let me know if I'm breaking up. I may just have to come back later. Okay, let's see what other questions do we have for today. What other questions do we see often in Facebook? Okay. Can you apply for adjustment of status without a legal entry? The short answer is going to be no. You have to have something that's going to protect you here in the US, that will keep your process here in the US without you leaving to your country. For example, if you're from Mexico, you have to return back to Mexico to complete consular process. So you want to make sure that, again, you have advanced parole or 245I, which we were saying, even if you were the direct applicant, the direct beneficiary, that you are a derivative of that application. There are a few things that you have to know to establish that you are, in fact, a derivative. You have to prove you are a derivative. Military parole in place if you have a son, if you have a spouse that is in the military, you can apply for military parole in place. Okay. So if you have a spouse or a child that is in the military, you can apply for it for military parole in place. That will give you the legal entry so that you can also do the process here in the US. If you don't have military parole in place, 245I, advanced parole, a legal entry of some sort, if you didn't come with a visa and stayed, if you don't, that be a tourist visa, some type of student visa, some type of parole, if you do not have a legal entry, you cannot do adjustment of status. Okay. Way too many times I'm seeing that applications are being sent without a legal entry. What's going to happen is your case will be denied. Well, my attorney told me that I was under the age of 18. It doesn't matter that I didn't come in legally. I can't apply for adjustment of status because I was a child. It does not work that way. Unfortunately, you need a legal entry. You be 2 days born and they brought you to the US against your will. You still need to have a legal entry. What's going to happen if you don't have that legal entry is USCIS is going to give you a chance, and they're going to say, hey, you need to establish that you are eligible to apply for adjustment of status while you're in the US. And you're going to have to prove that you do have a legal entry or something that's going to protect you. If you cannot establish that you do have a legal entry and that you are eligible for AOS, they're going to deny your application. If you have DACA, good. DACA will continue to protect you against deportation. But if you don't have DACA, at some point they may catch up with you. Okay. At some point they may catch up with you and they may send you a notice of to appear. You don't want that. If your DACA is denied, I'm sorry, if your adjustment of status is denied and you don't have any type of status, they will send you a letter saying, hey, your adjustment of status is denied. You have 30 or 33 days to leave the US. You're okay as long as you get that letter. But at some point, especially with this administration, they may catch on that, hey, this person did not leave. Now let's bring them in. They either have to leave on their own or we're going to start a removal order in their name. Okay. This is Very important. This is why we continue to ask everybody to renew your DACA. Don't think that because you're in the AOS process that you're going to be safe, that your AOS is going to be approved, and that you're going to stop renewing DACA. If something happens to your case, let's say your marriage ends up, your spouse no longer wants to file the petition for you, you don't have any other type of relief, and you don't file DACA, it's been over a year, now you're without AOS because you can't move forward with your process, and you don't have DACA because it's been 1 year since it expired, and we know that after 1 year it's not going to be considered a renewal, it's going to be a new application, and those as of right now are not being approved. So these are all of the things that we take in consideration as a legal representative. This is the reason why we do the job that we do, and this is the reason why we ask a lot of people to book an appointment with us, because we're not looking at your case here to next month. We're looking at your case overall. There are a lot of things to take into consideration whenever we are filing for an adjustment of status case. I think of the worst case scenarios that could happen if this case was not to go through. And if you're going to be doing this on your own, you also need to think of those scenarios. The what if this case doesn't go through? Do I have DACA? Is it going to protect me? Will I be able to renew my DACA? There's just a lot of questions, okay? So people are going to probably say I'm trying to push appointments to people. That's not the case. We're here to help. And because we're here to help, I'm seeing way too many cases being filed that should not be filed. Again, fortunately, if you have DACA, it's going to protect you as of right now. But what happens if someday, I don't think there is going to happen, but we never know. Again, thinking worst case scenarios, what happens if, one day they get rid of DACA completely, or if you're not eligible to renew your DACA, what's going to happen if your AOS case gets denied, okay? Some cases you're going to need an attorney. You really are going to need an attorney. Okay, so I don't think, oh yeah, we actually do have one more question. It says, what's the turnaround time for DACA applications? What do you mean? Like the renewals? Are you talking about renewals? If you're talking about renewals, the turnaround time is about 5 to 8 months for the most part. That's kind of what I've seen. Okay. Okay. So that's actually going to be it for today. I don't think we had a lot of questions. Um, join the Facebook groups if you're not in there. If you're watching us from YouTube, make sure that you make a Facebook account. Make sure that you are following us. Yes. Okay. So 5 to 8 months for the most part. Now, every once in a while, we'll see somebody that gets lucky and it gets approved before then. That's what we want. But because for the most part, it is taking 5 to 8 months. We just encourage you to file. Okay, I think I found out why my computer's slowing down. Every time that my drive is updating, let's see. It says my mom is a resident. I only have DACA and I have AP. Should I apply through my mom? So AP is not going to help you in the case of your mom. The only reason you can keep your process from going outside of the country and keeping it as an AOS is if you have 245I, okay? Advanced Pro is only going to help you do adjustment of status if you are the spouse of a US citizen or if you are the parent of a US citizen. Or I don't think we have any scenarios like that, but if you are if you are a child single under the age of 21 of a US citizen. Other than that, it's going to be consular process unless you have 245I. We talked a little bit about 245I at the beginning of the video. I think we maybe have a longer post in the Facebook group for those of you that are interested. Maybe you have 245I. Maybe your parent is a resident. How did they become a resident? Do you have 245I? You want to go back and you want to look at all that. These are things that we ask whenever we do our consultations. I'll get sometimes people that are like, "Hey, I'm gonna apply for AP because um I'm gonna apply for AP to go see my grandparents, but my grandparents have they're a resident." Okay, so my first question is not let's go ahead and apply for AP. My first question is, how are your grandparents are a resident? Did they ever file a petition for your parents? Well, yes, but my mom, never got her green card. Well, you may have 245I. If you have 245I, you don't even need this AP. Again, these are things that we do look for in our consultation. So I've came across actually a couple of people that I'm doing their AOS, and while we were doing their adjustment of status, we determined that they had 245I. There was no need for them to apply for advanced parole. They just didn't know because they weren't told. But they already had that AP. So again, we look at a lot of things when we do these consultations. I've been waiting since November for my renewal and it expires next month. Go to our website and there is a link that's going to instruct you how to ask for congressional help. Check it out. It may help you. It may not, but you want to give it a try, especially if you've been waiting that long. Okay. So I think that is it for today. Um, I will see you guys hopefully next week. Hopefully, if credit is back in, we'll be able to answer more questions. Bye, everyone.